I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker who is in the house, a wonderful woman who I met. So most of you know Denise Lynn. Denise Lynn is going to be doing photography at our incredible event on August 9th. And me and Denise met and we did some work together, and a lot of you commented on this beautiful blue dress. People were calling it the Cinderella dress that was all over my social. And I went to her place, and we had this, this kind of dress up experience where you could dress up, and it was for a good cause. It was for, women's health and all of the things. And so it was at this gala, right? So women supporting women, doing the deal. And shortly when I was there, I got introduced to Sharon and Lene, and we were in the same room looking at pictures and all that kind of stuff. And when you just kind of have that instant, there's another cool chick in the room, like, there is, right? It's like, you're like, oh yeah, you listen to Jimi Hendrix too. No. And you just knew. So we had only met briefly, and then we were out at the party, and then we kind of bumped into each other again. We're both, doing stuff on the silent auction table. And then it came time. Now, I had agreed to help out Denise because she had a live auctioneer that she couldn't get for her event. And I'm like, sure, I'll live auctioneer for you. She's like, okay. So I realized early on in this room of people that I only knew a few of, that if I was going to stand in front of these people that paid, I would say, a beautiful amount for a wonderful evening, right? That they wanted to be entertained and not only sold to. So I went up to her and her girlfriend and said, okay, you're my ringers. You're the people that are going to start this off. I'm going to be staring at you as I'm going to be asking these people to continue to pay and more as high as we can for this event. And they were fantastic. And that's how we kicked off our relationship. And I'm super excited about it. And I learned about something that she did that night that really everybody should know about. And we talked a little bit earlier about the world of nonprofit and the world and the benefits of that, not only to the participant, but to also be able to participate it in a very interesting way. So I want to introduce Sharon Pound. Hello, 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 looking lovely in white. And she is from Opportunity International Canada. She is Director of Philanthropy for BC, which is British Columbia and Vancouver, Canada. We are the province of BC. She has over 10 years experience in fundraising. She believes wholeheartedly that everyone deserves the opportunity to live a life free of poverty. This is a nonprofit. Something that you do not know about her, maybe you never met her before, but if you did, you wouldn't know that when she was younger, she had a crush. And you're probably not going to guess on who. She had a crush on Steve Martin.
Creepy.
Her favorite singer is Johnny Reid. And we're going to have a bit of a conversation about Opportunity Canada. So Sharon, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Deb. Thanks for having me. I know the Steve Martin thing's a little creepy. I get it now. It's a little creepy. Don't ask me why. There's just something about him that gave me butterflies. And yes, it's weird. And I did not have daddy issues. So I don't know.
I don't want to say that. Look, he's hilarious. Like, he's kind and he's hilarious. And when you see him in movies, like, what is that one with all the kids and everything? Like, oh my gosh, he's so funny, right? He's just a big joy guy.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you explain to us what Opportunity Canada is?
Okay.
Maybe how you got involved.
Yeah. So Opportunity International is an organization that we raise funds and we help provide training and microloans to women, mostly women. 95% of our clients are women living in ultra poverty in developing countries. And when I first heard about Opportunity International, I'd been involved with I'd done other things along the way. I've worked with vulnerable women here in the Lower Mainland. I've worked for Habitat for Humanity. But with Opportunity International, I can't relate exactly because I don't live in a developing country, but I do know what it's like to be left with 3 children without any resources and know what it's like to be the sole provider and to be the dreamer for my family and have to provide because they're relying on me. And I couldn't imagine being in a country where there are no outside resources. Your family can't help you because they're living in ultra poverty. There is no food bank. There is no social security check. So I know that empowering a woman, when you empower a woman, you're not just empowering her, but you're giving her the tools to be able to lift everybody up around her. So, Opportunity International believes wholeheartedly to give people a life of dignity.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Well said.
Yeah.
Um, so when you talk about dignity, I know that we talked earlier, and dignity and sustainability are really important to the
Hmm.
organization. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Hmm. I think that when people live with dignity, they don't just survive, they thrive. And I tell this story because it's a story that's etched in my mind. So years ago, there was a few of us couples. This is many, many years ago, probably before I had children. And when you get a name, you can get a name of a family living in need and you can support them for Christmas. I remember that we went out and we got all the things because we were excited. It wasn't about us, but we got all the food and we got all the presents and we were so excited to give this family Christmas. And we went to this home. It was probably a dingy basement suite. And we got there, and the kids were there, and they're very excited. And the mom was there. The mom was feeding her energy off the kids, and this. And I remember giving them everything, and the kids were excited and opening these things. But then I remember looking over, and the dad was standing in the corner, and his eyes were downcast. And I didn't really clue in then, but the more I've grown and the more I know is that we took his dignity away. We took away his ability to provide for his children. We we made him feel ashamed. So this with Opportunity International, we don't have feet on the ground in the countries that we serve. We partner with NGO banks there, and as well, the loan officers are for the countries that we support, and we provide the money. But with that, we don't take the dignity away. These women take very small loans that are paid back in a very short amount of time, and they grow their business. They Usually a woman will take one loan, pay that off, take another loan, pay that off, take another loan, pay that off. She is providing for her family. She is sending her children to school. She is making the money to fix the leak in her roof. She is the one that is doing the work. And nobody can take it away from her because it's her business. We haven't provided a business that she can work at and get a paycheck from us. It's hers to call her own.
How do they find out about you? So in developing countries, like how do they know that you exist?
Okay, well, Opportunity International has been around worldwide. There's five countries that have Opportunity International. It's been around for 50 years, and Opportunity International Canada has been around for almost 30. So our partnerships, we've been partners with for a very long time. So on my last trip to the Dominican Republic, we went to the bank that we partner with there. It's called Aspire. And so Aspire has loan officers that have a quota to meet. So each loan officer might have to bring on 8 new clients a month. So they go into the villages and they find clients. But along with that, they're not just a loan officer, they're also their mentor. They are there to come alongside the women because they want their businesses to thrive. And I have to just say that we have a 98% repayment.
Well, let's do
Yeah,
some cheering and some
yeah,
hearts and some
yeah,
claps for that. I
yeah.
think that speaks, that speaks volumes. It speaks a lot. It speaks to our hearts about being able to have someone in an empowered, we've just been talking about sustaining someone from an empowered where you get to say yes and you get to say no. And I think that's really, uh, because the numbers would show,
Hmm.
the numbers would show if that formula doesn't work.
Right.
Um, so they take one loan, and is it like a traditional loan where you need to pay it back within a certain amount of time, or
It
yeah?
is. And it's a traditional loan as well with interest, and there's penalties if you don't pay it back. But like I say, with the loan officers that I've spoke to, a lot of them could move to a corporate bank, but they don't want to because there's no heart in it. They become not only mentors, but friends. They want their clients to succeed. And when they follow a certain client, they have watched a family's life transform. A child might be able to go to school and then go on to university. And just like us here in the Western world, we were brought up a certain way and we want our kids to thrive. I mean, I don't know about you, but I want my kids to do better than I did or have more than I had. And it's the same there. And one thing about Opportunity International is a lot of people use that comment, a hand up, but I feel that we don't even give a hand up, we give a handshake. The clients are the same as you or I. A lot of times people that live in developing countries, we tend to think, well, they're used to war or they're used to being poor, or but when a mother loses a child in a developing country, their heart hurts just like yours or mine. If they can't feed their children, they have the same heart. So we are not giving people a hand up. We're simply giving a handshake and saying, you deserve the same opportunity that I do, that my children do, that my friends do, that my neighbors do.
That's really well said. That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. I had a conversation with someone a few days ago that was having the conversation around how people can come to this summit for donation or free. And they were being really blunt. They're like, how do you do this? Like, how do you do this? And they had made an assumption that free would be for more people, that because we are Nigeria, Canada. And I said, here's the interesting thing. We're same. Because your sister next door that could have got wiped out by a divorce and everything taken and can't pay the credit cards needs to come to the summit for free. And someone else who's in a neighboring country could come for summit for free. But that is the beauty of solidarity. That's the beauty of expansion, because when you start to think like that, the world becomes a place to serve and be served. Mm-hmm. I also think it gives an allowance for people to ask for help. Because many times when people are like, well, I've seen people and had conversations with people when a woman's had very little, but someone she knows that has less, and she hasn't felt like she could ask. I mean, very little, because someone else had less in the community. And so I think it's been really beautiful to listen to you talk about how everyone deserves and everyone can help and everyone can be on both sides. And obviously some places are tougher than others, and you're going to those tougher places and you're making availability, which is, I think, the key factor, availability and accessibility, where in other countries there's accessibility and availability, but it's that I think it's very difficult. And I don't know, maybe the counselors work with that, for someone to come and ask.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, difficult to ask. We have another program. I think it would be difficult to ask, but our clients have created a very safe community as well. Some of our women, we have what's called a savings group. So if there is a client, they might not even be ready for a microloan. So they create these savings group. This is another thing our partners do. And what this is, it's a group of women in a community that commit to a program for a year. And they have to meet weekly, and there's consequences if you don't show up for 2 meetings in a row, you're out of the group. And it's called a savings group. So it's so beautiful to watch. It's usually held in a church or a community center, and there's a president and there's a secretary, and they're at this table, and the women come together, and they one by one, they walk up and they give the amount of money they have. Nobody knows what they're giving. And it's written out in a little paper kind of booklet, like the old days, like the banks, and they put their money in this savings box and they walk back. So within this community, they save together. But within that community, they also lend to each other and pay back. So if someone maybe has a sick child and they can't pay for the doctor, the group will lend them the money. And it's really beautiful to watch. Then that's where the women find their hope and dignity, because what seemed unreachable becomes reachable. There are women that are getting out of debt where they own a loan shark, which is just a perpetual cycle of debt, because you don't pay the loan shark on time, your debt goes up and up and up. So women have gotten out of debt. In fact, some of the women that have been able to go on and get a loan will stay in this trust group because they've created such good community.
Oh, I'm so glad I wanted to hear that. I think I've heard a lot of what you talk about is accountability. Accountability, and wow, that's incredible. So we can see very much how it is changing the lives of people from a recipient standpoint.
Mhm.
I'd love for you to highlight, I mean, obviously you're all in, but
Mhm.
what someone can do, how someone can support, what does that look like? And I don't know if you have a story or something that we've been hearing some great stories today
Yeah.
of what it's like to be on the other side, donating or participating or volunteering or
Right.
supporting an organization
Right.
like Opportunity International.
Right. So our donors, we like to call them family because really are the donors that I interact with, they really are like family. It's such a joy. And I have to say joy to spend time with my donors. I know, well, you actually met a few, Deb, at the dinner
Mhm.
we were at. And it really is, it's like sitting with old friends because people that usually become part of the family stay with OI because it's just so inspirational. But we have what's called trust groups, which was inspired by the saving groups in the countries that we serve. So one thing is that, and not everybody is in a trust group, but sometimes a few couples or community church group from church or some business partners will get together and form a trust group. And what that means is that they commit to a project for 2 to 3 years. So they come together and we might present a few projects and they decide to support a project for, like I said, 2 to 3 years. But we use the same model. Nobody tells each other what they're giving. Only the, say, director of philanthropy would know. But we get together 4 times a year and I would present what they've raised so far and then give them updates on the country. But what a really great thing is they've sometimes traveled together to the countries they're supporting. So last November, I went with a trust group from Alberta, and it was 4 families that have been together for 3 years, along with their children. They managed to give even during COVID. So even during COVID, their children, I think at the time the children say they were 9, they had to raise $90, 15, $150. So times 10. So during the pandemic, the kids, some of the girls sold jewelry online and, others did other things, whether it was yard work for other people. So we went with these families to the Dominican Republic and it was so beautiful. It was 21 people in this trust group going from age 9 to the parents' age. I won't say their age just in case they're watching. I don't want to guess and get it wrong. But it was such a beautiful thing to see and watch these children and just see it through their eyes. And now their 3 years is up and they've committed to another 3 years, added another country and brought other friends on to be part of this trust group. So it's really beautiful. And it's tough to comprehend sometimes when you go visit a village and you see the people, even though it looks like success to them, it might not be success to us. And we go back to the hotel that has to be safe. So it's fairly nice. And we have this good food and good restaurants and that comprehension of, oh, I shouldn't be doing this because I just saw that. But it's not about that. It's about we can all do something. It doesn't have to be overseas, but we can all do something. We don't have to come back and change our lives and think, oh my gosh, I'm never shopping at Aritzia again, or I need to sell my home. That's it, right? It's not about that. It's about finding a passion and what makes your heart sing, what speaks to your heart.
Wow, very well. I
Yeah.
mean, yay all the way around. I mean,
Mhm.
that's so inspiring. And thank you for bringing that up. I mean, I would never have thought to ask about that question on how it would feel. And wow,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. That's incredible. Before we wrap up, Sharon, and man, I just feel so emotionally full. I'm going to pass it over to my co-host, Stephanie. And Stephanie, thoughts like,
And Sharon, first of all, what a beautiful mission. Um, because I was just on a call this morning before this summit, and a business leader was saying that more and more, or I should say, less and less women are actually leading companies. We're in a temporary decline.
Right.
And we have to ask ourselves, why is that? What is happening? And we as women who have the means and the platform to put ourselves out there and to help other women, and like you said, like a handshake, as a peer,
Mhm.
not as a handout. And I thought that that was really powerful. And also that, you know, our abundance, we were put in life as creators, right? And if it happens that our mission is to create abundance for others, that's a beautiful thing. There shouldn't be any guilt or shame of I get to stay in a nice hotel, because everyone's on their own journey.
Mhm.
And if we can use our abundance to create abundance for others,
Mhm.
then that's beautiful, especially with
Mhm.
women helping women. So
Mhm.
Sharon, I don't know if you have any further thoughts to add to that, but that was really powerful how you
Well,
ended
I
that last part.
I think what you said about, maybe staying in a nice hotel, I think it's important to realize one thing I've realized is everybody has poverty in their life. It might not be financial poverty, it could be grief, it could be loss, it could be loss of a marriage, it could be loss of a child, it could be having no friends, it could be that you're so wealthy, people just want to use you. We all have poverty in our life. It's not just financial. So when we can come along people in extreme ultra poverty and help them financially, that's just one aspect of it, but that one aspect of it can help change their lives. And when you say it's about women, I just want to give one statistic. For every poor man, there's two poor women. For every poor adult, there's two poor children. So we often say poverty has the face of a woman and a child.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, so powerful. Thank you so much, Sharon, for coming on today. I know that we're going to be spending some more time together. Yay.
Yeah.
So let's do some hearts, let's do some claps. And